I'm Jason with Kurtz, and today I'm going to show you how to install a French drain.
This is a real simple diagram of what a French drain consists of. Once you've dug your trench, all you're going to do is line it with a fabric and then put 57 gravel around perforated pipe. If you want, you can cover it with soil or just leave the gravel exposed, but it's most common to cover it so it can't be seen underground. The objective of this project was really simple and straightforward. This gentleman was getting a lot of runoff going over his flower mound and hitting his patio. So what we're trying to do here is intercept that water with a French drain and pulling it along the side of his property to an outlet. These are some of the tools that we used in our project. Obviously, you're going to need a nice shovel, a nice construction rake, as well as an axe and a spade. Again, the axe is going to come into play when you come across roots or any obstructions in the ground. I also like to use a pickaxe if you're digging into high clay soils, which is probably going to be the case if you're going down the minimum 10 inches. But again, just some tools that you would need for the project, a good set of boots, and of course, some gloves. Other than the tools needed for the project, some of the material you'll need for the project includes a 57 size wash gravel. That is the stone that is typically going to go around the pipe. You'll also need perforated pipe. You can also buy drain tile pipe and perforate it yourself, but it already comes pre-perforated in many applications. We use a 4-inch pipe for that. Also, I use topsoil to plant seed after I'm done. If I can't replace the sod, that is another material that we use in this application. So nice screen topsoil. And when you're planting grass on top of the soil, I like to use a nice leaf compost instead of a straw. I think it's better for the soil and actually provides some good nutrients and organic matter back instead of just straw. So those are some of the products that you'll need to complete this project. The first step of the process is really to mark the direction that your trench will go. Once you've done that, really you just want to remove the sod. It's simply done by just scooping down a couple inches on both sides of your trench and then really just peeling up the grass. Remove the sod and place it aside because you will need it later if you are planning on using it to cover back up the trench once it's been backfilled with the pipe and the stone. By far the most fun you'll have in this entire project is excavating the trench. Honestly, there's really nothing to it. Just make sure you're hitting your target depth and keeping your sidewalls straight. I also like to tamp down the bottom with my foot when I'm done, just to compact the surface a little bit more. When installing a French drain, the ideal depth is typically between 10 inches and 2 feet in depth. Here, we're going to use a 10-inch measurement. So when you're doing this, make sure you're constantly checking to make sure your depth is below your minimum desired depth. It's quite common when you're digging your trench that you're going to come across roots or other obstructions in the ground. So just be prepared. That's why I like to have an axe with me, or in this case, a chainsaw to cut away any large roots that are obstructing my path. Once you've completed excavating your trench, it should look something like this. Again, make sure you keep taking measurements to make sure you're at the appropriate depth. If the ground's wet, you could see water filtering in there, which is a good sign if it's flowing the proper way. When placing your pipe, it's a common mistake to think that the holes in the perforated pipe go on top, but they actually go on the bottom. So make sure your pipe holes are on the bottom and put your pipe right over the gravel layer that you just put down. One tip that we like to do is you really want to make sure your pipe is as close to the bottom as possible. So putting down some heavy bricks on top while you backfill with the gravel is one easy way to ensure that the pipe is going to stay to the bottom. Once you've completely filled the pipe, surrounded it with stone, then what you want to do is pull the fabric real tight and wrap one end around another. Some people use a staple. You don't have to, kind of personal preference, but definitely keep in mind where you want your top of your eventual grass to be. Once you're done throwing down your seed and covering with the compost, maybe rake out the area, smooth it down a little bit, and definitely give it some water. But this is what everything will look like, a nice smooth area with freshly planted seed. So you really don't get to see the fruits of your labor here, but in a couple of weeks, grass will start to pop up and you'll have the proper drainage that you sought out for. Hope this video helped, and if you have any questions, please visit our website. And that should wrap it up. In the end, you should have a fully functioning French drain. One way to double check this is just to make sure that there's water flow through the drain. If that doesn't happen, I would definitely go back and double check any connections that you've made to make sure that they've done properly. Also, remember to water your grass, especially for planting new ones. Other than that, we really appreciate you checking our video out. Please subscribe for more landscape and gardening tips, tricks, and DIYs.